Hey there everybody, welcome back. I'm the Gerbil, and in today's video I want to do a bit of a response to the Road Ahead that came out yesterday, February 2023. It was a really good Road Ahead. In principle, I agree with almost everything in there, and I really look forward to a lot of things. But I think there were some kind of subtly hidden undertones that I'm not hearing anyone talk about, and I want to bring them kind of to the front of the discussion, hopefully, because I think that they're going to have some unintended consequences that are not necessarily good for guilds and may cause some tension, contrary to what some of the stated objectives are. If you're not, really aware, capital gains is synonymous with unintended consequences. Hence the recent, nerfing and refunding of the tray of Omicron. The TIE Defender is under review, and so on and so forth. I mean, it's really been interesting lately, and I'm kind of thinking we're going to see some of that. So stick with me. I'm going to start by talking about the raid changes, and then I'll get into the other things that they talk about in this Road Ahead. And so anyway, I hope you enjoy this, and I hope I make sense. I'm doing my best here. So let's get started, shall we? And hit that like and subscribe if I do make sense. And you enjoy this. Anyway, here we go. Raids, general raid changes. So there are a lot of changes to raids. Why are they making these changes? Honestly, some of these changes nobody's asking for. That's a fact. That's not a negative thing. It's a fact. Nobody was asking for these, and yet I think some of these are good anyway. But here's what CG says. They said they want to make these changes to make the path of progression through the raid system less complicated, to make it more easy to understand, less confusing. And I think that's just not an issue. I don't think anybody was confused that when you start the game, your first raid to tackle is the pit, and then after that is the tank, and then the Sith triumvirate. There was no confusion in this. It was pretty straightforward. They also though want us to. They say they want to reduce the time that players are spending in the raids, and I'm just gonna call that one bogus also. The changes actually may lead to a substantial number of people spending a substantial amount more time in raids. Time will tell, of course, but this is part of the concern I have going forward, and I'll explain it in detail in a second. They also said that this changes to the raid system allow them to be more flexible, expandable, and implement new raids faster and easier. And if that's the case, then I am all for it. That is fantastic. I want more playable content that fill me with nostalgia and happiness and satisfy my love of Star Wars, all right? But among the other changes is a substantial change to the way that you earn the rewards. It's a really, really big change. They are moving from a straight up damage based reward mechanism, where in the Sith Triumvirate and in the Sea Pit, the players who dealt the most damage in the raid got the most points, and they are flattening out the raid point rewards, similar to what you would get, say, when you sim the pit or the tank takedown. So the flattening of the rewards I think is good, and changing it from damage to point based is very interesting and provides them, as I said, more flexibility, because you can get, points for achieving multiple objectives within a raid, even though it may not be kill the boss, right? I mean, imagine an indoor raid, you get points for breaching the door to the Imperial bunker at the shield generator for the Death Star, but you also get points for however many AT-ATs you take down. They didn't have AT-STs or whatever, right? That could be a lot of fun. Very exciting opportunity there. But what also is kind of interesting, and this is going to take us towards the problem, is that the amount of rewards you get are going to be based on two things. Two different tracks in each raid, they say. There's an individual track, me, and then there's my guild track, which is everyone I know in the game, right? The individual track, you will get your rewards immediately, which is amazing, and if you don't get them, then they'll go to your inbox. Great. The guild reward tracks will be provided at the end of the raid when that raid is completed, and everybody, in order to get it, like current, must participate in at least one attempt, right? So if you join the Sith raid but you don't actually go in battle, you don't get any rewards. Same thing going forward. That's fine. Sounds good. All right, now there's some structural changes. The legacy raids, which is the pit, the tank, and the Sith Triumvirate, those are all 4 phases, and they're staying that way. The new Krayt Dragon raid, which we'll talk about, is only a single phase, and this one bothers me a little bit because, like, when Ben Solo came out, I thought, wow, is his animation boring? And then I noticed several other characters sequentially also had minimal animations, that they literally are copy and paste and reskinned other characters, and I thought, man, that's kind of, you know, a lack of effort. A single phase in this raid, and this is meant to be the raid to replace all others, basically, brings up a substantial concern in me that they're minimizing their effort to develop. Now, again, time will tell, and I hope that's not the case, but that was my initial take on it, and we'll see when it comes out. Phases, though, in each raid will only be completed, they're saying, after a certain number of attempts. What this means is you can no longer solo a raid. I can go in, theoretically, and beat the raid, but it's not actually going to progress the guild into the next phase until enough of my guild mates also do the same thing. So, or, it's a little confusing, based on their wording, another interpretation could be that completing an event or a phase won't progress it even for me until I achieve it again a couple times. I don't know. Honestly, I know I didn't copy and paste the literal verbiage, but there are multiple ways you can interpret it, so time will tell for us again. But anyway, that's not super important. What is interesting is they're saying, though, that each attempt in a phase has a maximum set of points that can be achieved, and that will end the attempt. That is straight out of the Road Ahead. It says reaching the maximum scores ends the attempt, and the player can submit their scores if they choose, which is another neat thing. But if the phase, or the attempt rather, if the attempt in the phase ends when you achieve a point value, that again has opportunity for variety. But let's suppose, you know, there's a big boss, and I don't get the satisfaction of defeating the boss because I've reached the point limit. That is something that we'll have to wait and see how that looks, but I'm concerned that might be pulling out some of the fun of that event. But anyway, moving on. The final phase of each raid will stay open as long as the raid is active, and this allows guild members to submit all of their attempts to earn as many points as they can. Now, here is where the problem really begins. Potential problem. Let's caveat that. Potential problem. Hopefully it's not. It's that section yellow. This allows, keeping the raid active, this allows guild members to submit all of their attempts to earn as many points as they can. Now, I'm in an international guild. I'm in Asia, which means that when most guilds start their raids in the US, I get left out. And that sucks. Totally does. I mean, I typically get left out. They've changed some starting times to accommodate me, but then we get time zone changes and whatever, and there are other people in other countries, and that's a problem. So this solves that problem, and that's fantastic. But in that solving of a problem, we're going to run into another one, and here's the start of the bigger problem. If points, rewards are equated to points, and points are determined by the summation of all the activity of your guild members, that essentially the point system of the new raids is just a territory battle copy, right? If your guild gets no points, you get no rewards. If your guild gets, say 100 points, you get, congratulations, a reward. If your guild gets 1,000 points, your guild, each member get a lot more, until you eventually get max guilds for max participation, max achievements, right? So you go into the raid, you battle, you earn your points, your buddy goes in and battles, they earn their points, and all down the line, all 50 guild members battle to earn their points. That's how you're going to get maximum rewards. Maybe you're starting to see the problem here. Okay? All right. Raids you can only have, under the new changes, a single raid at a time, which means no concurrent tank, Sith, pit raid, which I'm quite accustomed to. I have 2 accounts, the Gerbil and the Gerblet. The Gerblet is a kind of a small, fun, like 1.5 million GP account that I just have a little bit of enjoyment with. But in the Gerbil's account, my main account, the guild has 415 million GP right now. we typically run these raids every couple days, right? As soon as we hit the option, they run, we sim them, we get the rewards, we move on. By only having one run at a time, and as I'll get to also later, they will run the maximum time duration. You cannot end them early. So that means, let's say a raid starts on Sunday, then it's going to run for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You're probably not going to be able to restart it immediately. So then nothing on Wednesday, but then Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So 2 raids a week potentially. This brings up a really, really big concern with the rewards, which I'll get to. And I'm not saying you're not going to get as many rewards. I'm saying that I'm concerned the majority of people will not be getting as many rewards. And I'll show you this, how we break it down in a second. CG does say actively participating in a raid, regardless of the difficulty, will earn the rewards from the old simmed raids. So you can still get your Han Solo, Traya, and Kenobi. Now, that I actually think is what they're intending in that statement. I don't think they're actually talking about the credits, the guild token, currency, and some of the gear. So here's where it all comes together now. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. Love the Lost in Space movies. There will be 2 different ways to earn rewards, as we said, a guild track and an individual track. You'll earn rewards based on the amount of points you contribute in the individual track, which you get immediately if you want. But now in the yellow and red, the concerning statements. You will also receive rewards from your guild's track depending on the amount of points your guild has earned at the end of the event. And guild points are by all the individuals going in and participates, right? It says guilds will be rewarded based on how many points your guild earns. Why is that a problem? It's a problem because when my guild completes the heroic Sith raid, for example, which is the best place in the game to get geared 12 pieces, like full geared 12 pieces, it doesn't matter what time of the day we start it, only about 10 people contribute. And it's almost always the same 10 people. That means the other 30 or 40-ish don't contribute because they don't care. They don't want to spend the time on it. It's not something they enjoy. It doesn't matter to them. Even though they know that they're going to get low ranks and low gear, it doesn't matter to them. So if that same mentality carries through into this new structure, then the guild, even a high-ranking, highly competitive guild like mine, may be getting only the rewards based on the participation of 10 people. And in that situation, it will not, unequivocally not, equal the sum of the simmed rewards and the heroic Sith. So here is a screenshot of a Territory Battle 3, all the names removed, so there's no shaming here. Guild officers are already daily looking at raid point inactivity, right? Who's getting and not getting those 600 daily raid points. They look at territory wars, who was active, who was not active. They were looking at territory battle points, who was active, who was not inactive, who deployed, who didn't deploy. Now, guild officers also have to look at raid inactivity. Did you do your raid runs? And how many raid runs do you need to do to maximize the points? Because if 10 people don't participate in the raid, that's 10 people not contributing to the guild rewards that everyone should get. And what's interesting is what that means is it's a mechanism to push every member of the guild, all 50 players, to participate in all the raids all the time. And that is contrary to their statement that they're moving to the system to reduce time spent in raids. Because before you simmed it and you relied on maybe 10 people in your guild or even 1 or 2 in a lower level guild to complete that Sith raid. Now everybody has to go in and battle, potentially multiple times. This actually forces people to play rather than reduces the time that they play. And this may not be a thing, a worry or a concern, but I imagine if the raid happens twice a week and if it takes 10 to 20 minutes per run, which I'm sure it will, there's going to be a lot of people who just simply are not going to do it. And that's going to cause tension between them and the other guilds, especially if they just hit, start, attack once, leave, or auto and walk away, then they're not really trying, and yet they're going to get the same rewards as the other people who are going to carry them. So in this situation, right, this is a territory war picture you can see here, but if that were raid points from this new dragon raid, then I could see people being really disappointed in numbers 49 and 50 because they are substantially below, right? So it's just another point of potential contention between members, which is also contrary to what they stated they wanted to do. They want to reduce inter-guild competition. Well, now it's not really competition as much as it will be, like keep up or get out. And that's not good to community building. So anyway, we'll see. Time will tell. Leveling guild member average GP is another concern I have. This is hard to explain, but it works like this. If you're in a younger guild, say, and the average GP of your guild is like most, not the average, like the mode, like the most common GP is like, say, 2 million. But you have those 5 or 6 people at the top who are like 4 or 5 million who enjoy being at the top. They enjoy their Sith raids. They enjoy the better rewards. They're going to see this new dragon raid and they're gonna be like, bro, why should I carry everyone below who's gonna get the same points as me? And they're gonna contribute less points because they're participating at a lower difficulty level. As you can see here in yellow, it says guilds participating at higher difficulty levels will earn more bountiful rewards than the sum of previous raids, which means that if the lower tier players are not able to get that higher difficulty, they will not be getting the simmed rewards that they were accustomed to. So lower level gears potentially may struggle a lot in this new situation. And those higher GP players in those guilds are now going to have an incredible motivation to leave, and I don't want to say abandon, but flatten the guild average GP, turning it closer to the mode, if you know your math. And what's going to happen in this situation is newer guilds, younger guilds, are going to struggle even more than they used to. So let's keep that sentence there. Guilds participating at a higher level of difficulty will see more bountiful rewards than the total sum of the prior raids. All right, so from right to left, we got the pit, we got the tank, we got the Sith Triumvirate, we got Krayt. No, it's left to right, other way. No, it's right to whatever. I don't know what it is on your screen. I'm looking at my own screen. Weird. But so what they're saying is, if the guild is participating at a high enough difficulty level, you'll get something better than this. What do they define as the higher difficulty level? When Lightside Geonosis Battles, Territory Battle came out, it was incredibly impossible. It technically is still impossible to get maximum stars. CG has a history of making the difficulty level, when they release it, tuned for something a year from now or 2 years from now. If this is the same thing, then a lot of people will not be able to get these equal or better rewards. So I definitely have some concerns about this, but I, of course, am trying to be optimistic and excited to see how this all pans out. But we'll have to see. I mean, when you look at these 4 sets of rewards, there's a lot of stuff here that, I mean, obviously, I mean, just the credits and the guild credits and the the stun prods, whatever that gear is. There's a lot of stuff to be had, so we'll see where this goes. All right, moving right along. This is taking much longer than I anticipated. Other changes include that they are limiting the number of attempts each player can make. So you can't just throw your entire roster at it. You can restart at any time, just like you currently can. In most of the raids, you can back out and go back in. The Legacy, so the Pit, Sith, and Tank. The final phase still ends, it says, in the Road Ahead once the boss is defeated, but that kind of contradicts a lot of other stuff they say. So what I'm thinking that means is, like, it ends for you, but it doesn't end for the rest of your guild, because they say that the raid runs its full duration. So if it's a 3-day raid, it will take all 3 days for it to actually conclude, regardless of how quickly you complete the raid. So I think that that's something to keep in mind. And then raids will be accessible from the event table. Hallelujah. Makes it a whole lot faster to get to them and easier to remember that they're happening, as well as territory battles, thank you, and territory wars. So now when CG like fills up the whole side of your screen with all those add, buy this, bundle, well, hopefully you'll still see it in your events. Anyway, moving on, that's good stuff. So Plans, this is from the Road Ahead, are still in development, but let's get to some details that you might expect. Notice the wording on that is really interesting. It doesn't say this is what it's going to be. It doesn't say that this is what you should expect. This is what doesn't say what you can. It says what you might expect, which means, yeah, you might expect this, but it's not going to be that, right? I'm just being a lawyer here, but I think it's kind of funny. In other words, though, anything that is in this Road Ahead is subject to change, as they always like to say. The Krayt Dragon, unlike the Legacy raids, is going to be a single phase, just one phase only, and it's going to be divided into like phases sub-phases or windows, as they call it, a debuff window and then a damage window. In the debuff window, they're saying the general strategy is to try to debuff the crap out of the Krayt Dragon. Put as many debuffs on it as you can to reduce a mechanic that they have called Defiance. It looks like the dragon is going to have stacks of Defiance, and all the debuffs you put on it will reduce the stacks of Defiance, or something to that effect. I don't know exactly because it's not super clear, but that when the damage phase goes in, all I can think of is it's kind of like it's an A-B back and forth situation. Do this so that you can do that, then repeat, rinse and repeat, right? The exact list of debuffs available and how they will affect the dragon is not yet known. In fact, it even says it's still being worked on, similar to what you might expect, but we don't really know. But that damage window, they say, will require players to manage big damage cooldowns to avoid devastating attacks. So I think of this one as like in the Sith Raid Nihilus with his one-shot kill, right? You can see how many cooldowns he still has before he can do it, and so you kind of manipulate your turn meters as necessary so that you get to somebody who can trigger that status effect that makes them gives them damage immunity so they can't be killed. Something similar is happening here. So you put all those debuffs on it, watch the cooldowns, then go into the damage mode when you can. But ultimately what it really makes me think of is Rancor Topple. It really feels very similar, right? Topple. Feels like Topple. We'll see. Here's something, though, that did kind of annoy me. So I love the thematicness of it, that you are limited to certain crew like the Hutt Cartel, Jawa, Mandalorian, Old Republic, Tusken. That works. If you're wondering Old Republic, it's because Revan actually killed one in the video game, so I guess that makes sense. But they said, quote, "We want to create a great deal of space for theory crafting and optimization." I get optimization, but how much theory crafting is there in a squad of 5 Jawas when there are only 5 Jawas? It's like if you're going in with Jawas, unless you're mixing Jawas with Hutt Cartel and Mandos or whatever, there's not really any room for theory crafting in there. Optimizing mods, turn order, sure. But theory crafting, not so much. They say that future raids may also thematically limit the units that you can bring. I think that makes sense. It'd be really, really awesome. Imagine like an indoor shield generator raid where you can only use rebels, Ewoks, or maybe like the inverse side of it. You play as the Empire, and you can only use Empire, bounty hunters, whatever, to defend against. That'd be kind of fun. I could see that. Kind of fun stuff. Moving ahead, we got from the Book of Boba Fett. They're bringing us 2 new Tuskens, as we all knew was happening, Chieftain and Warrior, to complete your 5 Tusken squad, and then they just kind of dump that. They make the comment about it, and then they're like, oh yeah, let's pretend we didn't even say anything about 5 squad, because what we really want is 2 3v3 Tusken squads. The current one we have right now with Raider and Shaman probably going to stay together. And that kind of makes sense because there's already an incentive to upgrade Shaman if you have the GLs, because you need Raider for Vader, love the rhyme, and you need for Jabba, I think it was. So there's already a monetization incentive there to get Shaman. But the others now, Boba's been sitting on the back fence doing a lot of nothing for most people. But now, Chieftain's Omicron will synergize perfectly with Boba Fett, Scion of Jango in 3v3, so says the Road Ahead. And then the Warrior's kit is built to synergize with Chieftain, and Jango will have synergies, I think they said added for Tusken, or they're going to mod his kit. I don't remember, something to do. So they've just basically said, hey, take this other guy that you're not using and get ready to mod or gear the crap out of him. It makes sense, it's a business. What worries me, though, is the number of omicrons for this squad. They're saying that Chieftain is going to have 3 GAC omicrons, whereas Jango has 3, I think, for Territory Wars. I could be mistaken on that. I don't use him. And, of course, Tusken Warrior, it's a new character. It's going to have, she's going to have an omicron. So there's 7 omicrons for a squad of 3 if you want to maximize the utility out of this squad. That's pretty expensive. The Tuskens will also find themselves particularly useful in upcoming galactic challenges, conquest feats, assault battles, and will be the focus of everyone's favorite Datacron sets soon, which gives us triple dark side Datacrons back to back. I mean, like, really, look in your inventory right now, there are no light side Datacrons, right? It's like, technically droids could be light side, but most of them, let's face it, are Separatist or Empire, I guess. And then there's Scoundrels, which are mostly dark side, and the other set, I don't remember which one it is. Oh, for Slicker, yeah, it's dark side. So this is going to be dark side, unless they update the tags to be neutral, because let's face it, Tuskens are not evil. They are, well, I don't even know if dark side is evil, but they're not dark. They're nomadic people that have been basically kicked off their lands and are fighting for survival. And as we saw in Book of Boba Fett, wrongfully attacked and blamed for all kinds of stuff. They are the indigenous people of Tatooine. Everyone else is an immigrant, and that doesn't make it bad, no, but they got a bad rap, is all I'm saying. Yeah, whatever. Moving on. But yeah, get ready for Tusken meta for the next foreseeable future. Hopefully not to the extent that they pushed Inquisitors, but we'll see. I like Inquisitors, but whatever. We also learned that at the bottom of the Road Ahead, interestingly, everyone's fan favorite Cal Kestis is coming to the game in 2, not just 1, but 2 iterations through a journey guide. There will be a Cal Kestis, and there will be a Cal Kestis Survivor to go along with the new Jedi Survivor TV show, as well as the original Cal Kestis from Fallen Order. I think that's the original one, don't know. As well as 3 other characters, 2 named, 1 a Night Sister, and sadly, I don't know how to pronounce Miss Junda's name, so I'm not going to try to say the first part of it. I hope I said the second one right. But they did not say that 5th character, so who is it going to be? Don't know. But they did explicitly say that there will be 5 new characters from Fallen Order universe. So that's pretty cool. And Cal Kestis Survivor, now that I think about it, is from the TV show, I think, which means 6 characters? Interesting. Yeah, so we'll see where this takes us. There will be a new Territory Battle Rise of Empire special mission for this Cal Kestis, as well as new conquest feats and Territory Battle bonuses. So if you don't have Cal Kestis very soon, and you don't have Tuskens, good luck red crating that upcoming conquest in 2 months. Oh dear. Oh dear. All right, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed some of this. Oh wait, look at that, I got one more slide here. I forgot about this. They'd said at the very end of it, we'll have another installment of Road Ahead in April. Good to know. Where we will dive deeper into the new raid and maybe drop a few more exciting announcements. So what does that mean? It means that the new raid ain't coming anytime soon if they're still going to be discussing it in April, which is 2 months away, right? But April is a good time for a Road Ahead because last year's GL Jabba was introduced in July, and in May, the following month after April, of course, is 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, and they said back in October that there would be a 40th anniversary celebration, so I can't wait. I hope it happens. We'll see. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.